squeezed into that cozy court. I really appreciate it. I felt so loved.
She's got a lot to play for on the other end of the net. The wherewithal to stay calm in that moment is pretty intriguing.
Alex Eala just left one of the most well-known sports brands, and the whole tennis community is still making an effort to comprehend the reason. This goes beyond just cash. This has to do with identity, loyalty, and a 20-year-old Filipino who is revising all the guidelines about how young athletes are expected to participate in the both on and off the court. Due to today, at the beginning of 2026, with a world 31st place ranking and star power, it is packing Auckland stadiums to Abu Dhabi. All of the world's leading brands want a piece of Alex Eala. Nevertheless, she refuses repeatedly. She continues to make decisions. She continues to follow her own way. Additionally, that choice, that steely, silent unwillingness to purchase from the top bidder, is appending the WTA's advertisement world at its center. Remain with me till the conclusion of this video because the story's backstory is larger than any monetary amount. To comprehend why an Adidas strategy for Alex Eala turned into one of the most discussed subjects in women's tennis, you must first recognize Alex's true identity and how amazingly quickly she arrived. May was my birth month. Quezon City, Philippines, 23rd, 2005. The introduction of Alexandra Mano Eala to at age 4, playing tennis with her grandpa. Her Risa Mano Eala's mother was a decorated national swimmer. Her relatives were athletic, intelligent, and motivated, but no one, not even the most hopeful Filipino sports enthusiast, may have guessed what was approaching. By the age of 8, she had already signed her first endorsement contract. Globe Telecom, the telecom company in the Philippines, saw something about this young girl. Before most individuals had a racket even heard her name. That bargain, modest and, at the time, symbolic, planted the first germ of anything that would ultimately turn into one of the greatest astonishing commercial tales in Asian sports history. She left her home, her nation, her family, and migrated to the Rafa Nadal Academy in Manila, Spain as a teenager. Take a moment to consider that. The development of Alex Eala several thousand miles from the Philippines, receiving instruction from one of the most demanding systems in professional tennis, this girl from Quezon City was sharpening herself into something extraordinary. In 2022, she won the U.S. Open Girls Singles Championship, the first ever Filipino to take home a junior singles Grand Slam crown. It exploded in the Philippines. The tennis community took note. However, what occurred next is something that no one could have written. At the Miami Open in 2025, rated number 140 and granted a wild card, Eala stepped into a competition she had no company winning, and proceeded to dismantle 3 Grand Slam winners in straight sets, Yelena Ostapenko, Madison Keys, and world number 2 Egatek, before succumbing to Jessica Pegula in the semifinals. She was the first wild card to defeat 3 majors in WTA history winners in a single competition. She went in the top 100 for the first time at number 75. At the beginning of 2026, she was rated number 31 and up. And that ascent was followed by something that every athlete ultimately faces. The swarm. The brand and the agent statistics, pitch decks, and managers with plenty of zeros. The phone conversations that continue. However, this is what made Alex Eala has changed since her debut. Started to climb. She had a team already. She has a system in place already. And she had already shown more devotion than money could buy. Couldn't take over. This is where it is now. Becomes intriguing, and the WTA's the business sector began to pay careful attention. According to Eala's rating grew, and her name started to become popular. Around the world, Adidas is among the most strong sportswear companies worldwide, allegedly made a genuine attempt to court her. Signature. Why wouldn't they? Eala is everything a worldwide brand could ask for. She is youthful, attractive, and culturally important over a vast Asian market, where she put the kind of a game of tennis that stops scrolling. The alleged number that is being circulated in industry discussions ranged from of $10 million, a figure that may change someone's life for almost every athlete, an astounding amount for a 20-year-old who continued to choose just a year ago. Wildcard entries were up. However, there was a basic issue with any Adidas strategy about Alex Eala. She had on Nike already. Not only she was a Nike girl since she wore Nike. She had occurred in 2019. Additionally, the partnership had developed into something that was much more than a contract. Simply days prior to the creation of this video, Aya arrived in the US for the Miami Open and Indian Wells double. And she didn't go to a hotel initially. It wasn't a facility for training. It was the Nike. Beaverton, Oregon is home to the global headquarters. She received a hero's welcome. The fabled tunnel was lined with pictures at Nike headquarters, the same sacred corridor that includes the best athletes in the history of sport. There was a portrait of her enjoying her Miami semi-final run, hands on her face, overwhelmed by feeling. There was a picture of her with Filipino admirers, and printed next to 4 words appeared in the portraits: history in its prime. This isn't how an athlete is treated casually by a brand. Staying within the terms of the deal. This is how a brand treats a person they consider to be the future. Furthermore, for Adidas or any other brand trying to get her to leave, that visit sent a message more powerful than any no rejection letter ever could. Thus, why would Aya turn down an offer of $10 million? The solution is straightforward. It's really among the most revitalizing items that are heard in contemporary sports. She didn't need it, but more significantly, it wasn't what she wanted. Consider that for a moment. In a society where athletes go for every penny, since this is a 20-year-old stating, not yet. Not on the conditions of just anyone. However, this is a section of the narrative that most you won't learn from the channels. Additionally, it's the layer that makes clear precisely what's happening the Alex Eala commercial stake cosmos. Since Adidas was allegedly producing real industry questions, social media was operating utterly insane with fake Aya sponsorship tales. Additionally, the extent of the false information was astounding. One Facebook post that went viral, it received more than 103,000 likes and thousands of shares, said Aya had been provided by Wilson Sporting Goods an endorsement contract of $45 million. The article included a fake quotation that was ascribed to passionately promising to give to her the funds to Filipino citizens. It was utterly fraudulent. Fact-checkers at both Verifiles and Rappler ripped it to shreds. Wilson didn't provide anything like that. No, Eala responded. Such a thing. According to a different post, Sheikh Mansour bin, a millionaire from Abu Dhabi, she had been promised a $1.6 by Zed Al Nahyan billion deal to become the monarch of a new tennis competition in the United Arab Emirates. $1 billion with AB, fully made up. Why is this important? Due to the environment of false news, Alex Eala's surroundings tell you anything that is true to the narrative. When fabricated reports regarding billion-dollar transactions spread this quickly and extensively, it illustrates the sincere longing that what the public and sports community think about her to get to that point. It displays a market so prepared, so desperate, and so poised to break through at the Miami Open that revolutionized everything to see this athlete get recognition at the greatest level that individuals are really making up the offers they hope were genuine. Additionally, against this whirling falsehood, the true account of Aya's brand loyalty increases even more strong. Due to the fact that although phony versions of Wilson was making agreements with her, and the actual Alex Eala was Sheikh Mansour, weeping when standing in the tunnel at Nike headquarters gazing into her eyes at a picture of herself, a Quezon City girl who traveled the globe at the age of 14 and received each and every inch of her body. There is no one that the real Alex Eala is pursuing. Cash. The authentic Alex Eala is producing, she is pursued by brands. Additionally, when you recognize that, the whole narrative changes. This has nothing to do with rejection. This is about power. Additionally, she has never had more of it than she does at the moment. Now, because of the repercussions, let's zoom out. Eala's brand positioning is very effective. Beyond the judgment of a single athlete, the business environment of the WTA in 2025 and 2026 is going through a major change. The period of European and American athletes controlling both the court and the market for sponsorship is paving the path for something more worldwide, more varied and, to be honest, more intriguing. It was proven by Naomi Osaka. Lena demonstrated it to her. Now, Alex Eala is the most recent and perhaps most convincing evidence. Her backers provide a purposeful narrative. Nike Clothing, the worldwide behemoth that has supported her for more than 5 years and recently extended their collaboration in a transaction allegedly worth $75 million. For her rackets, Babolat, the tennis company from France that has been from the beginning of her junior career. Her preferred weapon is the Babolat Pure Arrow. On all surfaces. For her, Globe Telecom Filipino identity, A connection that began at the age of 8 and has developed became a symbol of pride in the country. BPI for fiscal restraint and respectability in her own market. Additionally, the majority of Lately, a Filipino company called Locally Juice brand. Local, grassroots, and profoundly linked to the culture that shaped her. Take a look at that portfolio. Each and every the sponsor provides you with information on who the person and values of Alex Eala. And noticeably missing from that, any brand that doesn't have a portfolio conform to her identity, her ideals, or her long-range goals. This isn't unintentional. This is a tactic. Additionally, the WTA's brand and marketing executives partnerships teams are keeping a close eye on cautiously because Ally is showing anything uncommon. A sportsperson with sufficient leverage in order to create her own advertisement narrative prior to the computer starting to compose for her. I wish I could say that I have an impact, according to Eala, to encourage others to take up a racket, to watch more tennis for ladies. All brands the agreement she signs is vetted by that lens. Does women's tennis become larger? Does this mean that the Philippines feeling proud? Does this convey the correct message? When Adidas called with their stated offer, the response via her behavior, if not her words, were obvious. It's not that Adidas is a horrible company, but because she has a tail already, and it wasn't part of the plan to add another stripe. Of the strategy. Let's discuss what Alex in reality, Aya's friendship with Nike seems like in reality because it extends deeper than her shirt's swoosh. In July 2025, at Wimbledon, she stepped onto the All-England grass courts for the first time ever. Nike gave her a personalized hairpiece. It wasn't a generic item of brand-name goods. The hair tie was made in the shape of a sagitta blossom, the national Philippine flower. It showed up in a message in a uniquely designed box kumanimihin in Filipino. You will harvest if you sow. Consider what it stands for. A worldwide American company, among the most influential businesses in sports, spending time honoring the individual's national identification at the age of 20 Filipino sportsmen, creating a piece of personalized jewelry with cultural roots, sending her a note in her own tongue. That kind of connection isn't transactional. That collaboration is based on sincere courtesy. Additionally, it took years to build. Quietly, while other companies waited to determine if she has gained enough notoriety to be worthwhile to pursue. She's currently at 31st in the globe. She has visited Nike headquarters, where her picture is displayed. Tunnel next to the sports legends. And every major is after her. Brand within the sector. However, the narrative goes much further because of Eala's. The commercial excursion is taking place in opposition to against the background of astounding athletic accomplishment that demonstrates absolutely no indications of slowing down. Early in 2026, in the world, she is rated number 31. She overcame Madison Keys, EGAT, Ostapenko, Yolina. She has 125 WTA victories. Title. At the 2025 SEA Games, she took home the gold. She and Coco Gauff played doubles at the Italian Open. She arrived at the early 2026 quarterfinals in Dubai. In Kuyong, she took home an exhibition championship. She made her debut in the main Australian Open. Adidas's strong desire for her draw. She is 20 years old. And each and every of those outcomes strengthens the hold that one of Nike's most commercially successful valuable tennis players for women. Every competition that Aya participates in, every as she moves around, every group of Filipino spectators that swarm a stadium to observe her, which makes the Adidas debate is becoming less and less relevant. Because a connection cannot be outbid. There is no way to quantify what Nike and together, Aya has constructed. Additionally, the reality that Adidas allegedly attempted indicates they could have misinterpreted what they were working with a certain kind of athlete. A few players are up for sale. Alex Eala is constructing an empire. Additionally, there is a very significant distinction between the two. This is the reality that lies underlying all we spoke about it today. Alex Eala's narrative, her ascent, and her commercial choices, her devotion to the brand, the bogus the Nike tunnel, the genuine deals, the Sugita hair tie is more than simply the narrative of a single athlete negotiating the market for sponsorship. It's an outline, a proof of concept, a communication given to every young athlete lagging behind her. You are not required to take the first large number that shows up. You don't possess, let the market determine who you are. You are able to create a brand that reflects your values, respects your heritage while continuing to compete at the greatest possible level. My aspirations have remained consistent, unchanged, after Miami. She said, "I've always been a huge dreamer. Grand Slam victories have been one of the ultimate objectives. To rising to the top has long been among the ultimate objectives." She is 20 years old, rated 31st and rising. She has sponsors who have faith in her narrative. She has a nation on her side. She is wearing a Nike standing in a tunnel in Oregon with a picture next to the best athletes in the sport's history. Additionally, she is just beginning. The fraudulent sponsorship tales that circulate about her on social media in the Philippines, the fake Wilson deal, the Abu Dhabi invention billions, they really serve as evidence. To the extent of her hunger achievement, she is adored by her own people. That the milestones are being created by them, they want her to get there. That's a distinct kind of power. That is resonance across cultures at a level most athletes never succeed. When Adidas arrived, Alex Eala didn't have to send out a press release. She didn't have to create assertion. She entered the Nike tunnel, examined her picture on the wall, and let her response do the talking itself. She's not just refusing to Adidas. She's accepting something larger. She is embracing allegiance. Yes to identity, yes to a manifestation of fame in sports that doesn't yield to top bidder, but instead makes requests that she met the world on her own phrases. Additionally, the WTA and each brand observing from a distance is gradually coming to a significant realization. You may earn Alex Eala by recruiting her. This is where we end up. Alex Eala is 20 years old, number 31 in the world, and already making choices that the majority of 2 times her age athletes wouldn't have the confidence to create. She has the support of Globe, BPI, Babolat, Nike, and locally Juice. A portfolio that provides a thorough logical account of her identity and where she's from. Additionally, when larger offers are made, either by Adidas or she compares them to anybody else. That narrative, not in opposition to the figure. The fake offers will continue to circulate. Social media. The genuine offers will remain signing a contract according to her terms, and the tennis community will continue to see a youthful Philippine lady who rewrote the real-time rulebook. The query, I would want to leave you with this today. In a business and sports world that has advised young players to take the Alex Eala has money while they can. Consider athletic branding's future, or is it a luxury reserved for the best? The bravest and most devoted may able to afford? Put your ideas in the remarks. I read each and every one. If you think that the narrative touched you, then what Alex Eala is creating is significant. Go beyond tennis and click subscribe button at this moment. We discuss the tales behind the scenes in tennis for women. The rivalries, the actual choices, the moments that are not included in the highlights but mold everything. Click subscribe. Stay with us and ring the bell. The greatest is yet to come.